Erev Tov and Shavuot Tov, and actually we're entering the culminating day of the Yemei HaTashlumim. Yemei HaTashlumim are the days that were added by Chachamim, by the rabbis, to the holiday of Shavuos, in order to go and to give the possibility of all those that didn't have the opportunity of bringing their sacrifices to the Beis Hamikdash on the first day of Shavuos, in order to go and to give everyone the opportunity, just like we have Chol HaMoed on Pesach and Sukkot. So we don't have a Chol HaMoed on Shavuos, but Chachami went and they dedicated the days afterwards till the 12th of Sivan, including the 12th of Sivan, for people that came up for the pilgrimage, for the Aliyah Laregel, in order to go and to give them the opportunity, as we said, to go and to give their karbonos. The Rebbe explains this in regard to the concept of the Geula, in which we in these days these are very special days, and they hold within them the energy to bring about the revelation of the third and the eternal Beis Hamikdash, because it's talking about going and having the opportunity to bring korbanot, sacrifices, and these sacrifices have to be given in the Beis Hamikdash, and therefore we see that these are very auspicious days to bring the Geula. Beyond this, it also says that since this is the last day, so it means that there were many people who, for some reason or another, were not able to bring their korban till the 12th day, whether it was with good intentions or with other intentions, because for some reason they weren't able to. When we're talking about our situation, the Rebbe says, in Golus, when we don't have the Beis Hamikdash, we're all in the Geder, we're all in we all have the definition of onus, people that were taken away our ability to go and to bring the korban, because we don't have where to bring it, and therefore how much more so we are connecting with this energy of bringing about the Geula Shlema V'Amitis, the true and the complete redemption. Our story today begins connecting with the 12 days of with the days of the Tashlumin, which connect us with the holiday of Shavuot. So our story connects us with Shavuot, the holiday of Matan Torah, not only Matan Torah, but specifically also David HaMelech, King David, who, as we know, his histalkus, his passing, was on the holiday of Shavuot, of Shavuos. And this is also one of the reasons, for instance, that we read the Megillas Ruth, the scroll of Ruth, because Ruth HaMoaviyah, Ruth the Moabite, was the great-grandmother of David HaMelech. And so if we also delve into these days and weeks that we find ourselves in after Shavuot, we see that not only the period of time between Pesach and Shavuot are connected every week with one of the chapters of the ethics of the fathers, Pirkei Avos, but after Shavuot, in many congregations, including in Chabad, we continue to learn the weekly chapter in the weekly parak of Pirkei Avos until Rosh Hashanah, and therefore this is also connecting with Pirkei Avos, actually with the third chapter of Pirkei Avos, even though this week we're going to be reading the second chapter, but it, like we said, it also connects with David HaMelech and the concept of Rabbi Chanina ben Dosa says that if a person has his yiras chet koidem lechochmase, his fear of sin or his fear of heaven comes before his wisdom, chochmase miskayemes, his wisdom will continue to exist. But if chochmase koidemes liyiras chete, but if his wisdom comes before his fear of sin, his fear of Hashem, Ein chochmase miskayemes, his wisdom will not continue to exist. And about this, we're told about Achitofel, who was one of the great advisors of David HaMelech. Not only was he great in the fact that he assisted David HaMelech, but he was great on his own accord, because it states about him that people that came to seek his advice, it was as though they were coming to seek literally the Shekhinah, the divine presence. In other words, his wisdom was so great, it was as though people were receiving the divine presence. Literally, like a prophet, a Navi, or going to the Kohen Gadol with the Urim and Tumim and so on. And here we see that unfortunately, when came a period in time of the Melucha, of the kingdom of David HaMelech, that Achitofel broke away and he rebelled against King David. We're told that the reason for this rebellion is due to the fact that Achitofel, was the uncle of Bathsheba. Bathsheba was the woman that David HaMelech took and married, but he did it in a manner that seemed to be not appropriate for David HaMelech. It was kosher according to the Torah law, but according to the level of David HaMelech, it would seem to be inappropriate. And since this happened, in other words, his Uriah HaChiti was sent out to war, and he was killed by the enemy. So he decided that David HaMelech's kingdom will not continue, and therefore he decided to rebel against David, and he went to the son of David HaMelech, Avshalom, who actually organized a rebellion against David. And it was Achitofel that gave him his advice and reasoning in order to go into to rebel against David HaMelech and to have all the nation behind him. The only thing was, we're told that there was another advisor, and his name was Hushai Ha'arki. Hushai, who was actually a spy. He was advisor of one of the advisors of Avshalom, the son of David HaMelech, but he was a spy sent by David HaMelech in order to go and to try to bring Avshalom back, or to stall for time so that Avshalom will be able to come to do tshuva. The way it worked out was that Achitofel advised Avshalom that if he will go and he will utilize the element of surprise, so he'll be able to go and to overcome the army of David HaMelech. They won't be able to go and to organize themselves for a war, and he will be able to take over the kingdom. Hushai, on the other hand, went and advised Avshalom that this would be a great peril for him, because the army of David HaMelech is a very strong army and a very well maneuvered army, and therefore he told Avshalom to wait, not to immediately run into war against his father. And then, when everyone is exercised and strong, he will be able to go into maneuver and to overcome the army of David HaMelech. Achitofel, who was, as we said, literally his wisdom was almost on the level of the revelation of the divine presence. Achitofel realized that Avshalom is making a mistake, because he took the advice of Hushai, and therefore he left Avshalom. He went home, and he wrote out his last will and testament. What was this all about? Because he realized that if Avshalom is not going to listen to him, he's going to lose the war against his father. The rebellion against his father is going to flop, and everyone that was in the rebellion is going to be killed. So therefore, he was preparing himself for his last day. Actually, it's told that he prepared himself for the last day because he was planning to take his own life, as he actually did. What did he write in the will to his children? He wrote in the will three things. The first thing that he wrote is that you should never have disputes with the Kohanim, with the priests. The second thing that he wrote was that you should always give respect to the kings of the seed of David. And the third thing that he wrote was, and this was a little cryptic, riddlesome, he wrote that if you look into the heavens and the heavens are clear on the day of the holiday of Shavuot, so then you should sow wheat. You should sow grains of wheat. This is, in other words, the opportune time to go into sow grains of wheat. And we know that sowing grains of wheat is not the time of the holiday of Shavuot. That's not exactly the time that that we sow the grains of wheat. We reap the wheat that we originally sowed on the holiday of Pesach, and we only sacrifice it on the holiday of Shavuot. So what in the world is Achitofel writing his children, and how do the first two things also have to do with Achitofel? We mentioned before, and this is the Rebbe's explanation in Pirkei Avot, the fact that if a person's wisdom comes before his fear of Hashem, his fear of sin, so then his wisdom does not continue to exist. And this is because the whole reason that the wisdom was there was an element of its own. It was an independent entity. It had no foundation to stand on. It was just an academic kind of philosophy, and therefore it has no continuity. It will not exist. And this was the case also with Achitofel. He was one of the greatest of advisors. His wisdom was so great that it was literally as though seeking the revelation of the divine presence, but his wisdom came before his fear of sin. His fear of Hashem was secondary to his wisdom, and therefore these are the things that the Rebbe explains he wrote down in his will to his children. Number one, we said that you should never have a dispute with the Kohanim, with the priests. Where do we see a dispute with the Kohanim in the Torah? We see it in a few more parashas with Korach. What happened with Korach? He had a dispute against Moshe Rabbeinu, against the Kohanim, and he claimed logical claims, intellectual claims. He said, "Listen, we're all Levites. So why is it that you take the kingship?" He said to Moshe Rabbeinu, "and you give the kehuna, the priesthood, to your brother Aaron." And all these claims that Korach had were based on intellectual understandings. And it says that Korach was a very, very wise person. He was unbelievably wise. But here we see the end of Korach was that the earth swallowed him up. Why? Because the appointing of Aaron as the Kohen didn't come from Moshe Rabbeinu on his own. It came from Hashem. His wisdom and his claims of Korach to go against the Moshe Rabbeinu and to go into dispute the kehuna, the priesthood, was only intellectual understandings of his own. But these intellectual understandings he put first before his fear of Hashem, and therefore that's the way he was swallowed up. And that's what Achitofel, number one, tells his children: never have a dispute with the Kohanim, with the priests. What was the second thing that he told his children in his will? He said, always have respect for the kings of the seed of David. And this is literally from David HaMelech until the Melech Ha'Moshiach, until the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach coming from the seed of David. What's the problem? What's the idea behind this? Achitofel, on a logical basis, he was right. What was his claim? Why did he rebel against David HaMelech? Because he said 1 + 1 is 2, or 1 + 2 is 3. He said that Shaul HaMelech, the first king of Israel, his kingship was taken away because of one mistake that he committed. What was his mistake that he committed? That he didn't kill Agag, the king of Amalek. and he left him alive for one night. And this one night was enough for him to go and to produce and to have children. And this is where from his seed came later on Haman in the story of Purim with Mordechai and Esther. Okay, and what about King David? He said, King David, David HaMelech, he committed two mistakes, and therefore he inevitably is going to have his kingdom taken away. What were the mistakes? The first mistake, which he considered a mistake, and this was in regard to the fact that he went and he took his niece, Bathsheba, and he went and sent her husband to be to the front lines where he would be, the highest percentage would be that he would be killed there. And the second thing was that he counted the nation. He counted the nation, which was something that is not permissible. We know that when we count, we're supposed to not count according to the heads, but we count according to the coins. We give half a shekel, and that's the way we're commanded to count in the Torah. And so he made the accounting that David HaMelech is going to have his kingdom taken away from him. He wanted to be on the winning team, so he went and he took the next son, which was Avshalom, and he went and he tried to advise him in order for him to be victorious, and he would be Avshalom's advisor. But this again, the intellect overtook the fear of Hashem, and this was something that Hashem did not say. In other words, the sin of David HaMelech with Bathsheba was not a sin that had to do with the entire nation. It was a personal sin between David HaMelech and Hashem. The sin of Shaul HaMelech, that he didn't kill Agag, this was not a private sin, but it was a public sin. Since this was a public sin, he wasn't forgiven. David HaMelech, since it was a private sin, he was forgiven, and therefore his kingship continued. The third thing, and this is the riddlesome writing that we mentioned earlier. What does this mean? That if you look up into the heavens and the heavens are clear on the holiday of Shavuot, so then this is a time to plant, to sow kernels of wheat. So the Rebbe explains that what his intention was in regard to the holiday of Matan Torah, the giving of the Torah on the holiday of Shavuot, and the prerequisite to the receiving of the Torah on the holiday of Shavuot, which was on Thursday. What did the Jewish nation, what did Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, say on the holiday, the day before they received the Torah? That everything that Hashem says, Naaseh v'nishma, we will do, and then we will listen, or then we will study in order to understand what is the reasoning, what is the logic behind every single commandment that Hashem has given us. And thus, when we're talking about the prerequisite to receive the Torah, there has to be Kabbalas El. There has to be the acceptance of the yoke of Hashem. And this is expressed in what the Jewish nation said, Nasa v'nishma, we will do, and then only afterwards we will hear, we will study. But first, we do. Whatever Hashem says, that's what we'll do. And therefore, this is the way that they received, or they were meritorious to receive the wisdom of the Torah. What does it have to do with planting seeds of wheat? So first of all, we're told that the tree of knowledge, Eitz Hadas, according to one opinion, the tree of knowledge, Eitz Hadas, was wheat. And therefore, if a person wants to obtain wheat, a person wants to obtain knowledge, the knowledge of the Torah, so this is what Achitofel was telling his children. First, you have to have the acceptance of the yoke of Hashem, and only afterwards you'll be able to go and to delve into the study of the Torah. The second thing is, we're told, and this is what our rabbis of blessed memory tell us in the Talmud, that a child is not able to go and to say the word father until he tastes the taste of wheat. In other words, until the child is old enough to be able to go and to eat bread, to suck on the bread, a child, when at the beginning, the child's not eating any food excepting receiving his being fed from his mother. But afterwards, this is the time when he is already at the age that he can go and he can eat bread, or in the words of Chazal, to'am chita, ta'am dogon, the taste of wheat. Then he'll be. Then what is the taste of wheat? Again, wheat is parallel to the concept of chokhmah, and that's why it says ad she'oviv to'amei ta'am dogon. Abba, his father, or the concept of father also in Kabbalah is a father. Yeah, there's father and mother, chokhmah and bina, wisdom and understanding. So thus we see that if a person, again, wants to be able to obtain the knowledge of the Torah, the concept of wisdom, so then it has to be very clear to him, like the sky is clear on a clear day, on the holiday of Shavuot, which is again contingent to Nasa v'nishma, we will do and then only we will hear. Then the person is able to go and to have to receive the chokhmah of the Torah. But if the person first has their wisdom and only afterwards they have the fear of sin, then the person won't be able to obtain the wisdom of the Torah, and ein chokhmase miskayemes, his wisdom will not continue to exist. And thus the Rebbe tells us that this is the same in regard to what? In regard to the Geula. When we're talking about the Geula, there are many, many things that we don't understand. We look and we look around us and we see darkness, we see Rahman al-Islam, the opposite of light, the opposite of Geula, the opposite of the redemption. But the Rebbe comes and tells us that this is literally the greatest of the darkness that comes right before the light, the illumination of the light of the Geula comes. And the fact that we don't see it is a shortcoming in us, but not in the situation, not in the state of the creation that Hashem is running. And therefore, first and foremost, we have to understand that we have to take our understanding and place it on the side. What comes first? We have to have yiras chet. We have to have the fear of Hashem. We have to have the fear of sin. When Hashem telling us through his prophets, through his Nevi'im, through the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach, that this is the Geula, and that we are living in the time, the period of the redemption. The fact that we don't see it intellectually and don't understand what's going on is not the reason not to believe. But we have to first believe, Naisa v'nishma. And then, obviously, also, since we're in the parasha of Baal Oischa this week, the illumination of the golden candelabra, the menorah hazav in the Beis Hamikdash Hashlishi v'Nitzchi, is imminent to be revealed, and it should be teichef u'miyad mamish with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlita Melech Ha'Moshiach on a good and revealed basis, with joy and simcha and joy of the heart, and with a tranquil mind and soul. And the main thing is they should be teichef u'miyad mamish mamish mamish. Yechi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu HaMelech HaMoshiach Chai v'Kayam le'olam v'ed. Amen.